that means it's time where you guys get to ask questions to this guy on my left, Dr. Amsu, yours truly, Mr. Breaks, and the rest of the GBD team who will be joining, and we'll be on here in just a few moments. I hope you guys are all doing great. See some smiling faces. I think we've already got some questions flying in. I know I think there's at least one question coming in on the YouTube. So for those of you first time, welcome to the show, to the clinic, to the call, to the session. And for those of you who've been on here before, you know the routine. If anyone has a question they'd like to ask, just let us know in the chat, or you can raise your hand in the app. At the bottom of the Zoom app, there's a participation button. Click on that. There's a little hand. You can raise your hand, let us know. Those of you on the IG, if you want to ask, you want to interact with us, we really appreciate you joining the Zoom. There's a link in bio on Dr. Amsu's Instagram, and you can join the link straight from there. And of course, you can get onto the YouTube. If you go to the Great Black Detox on YouTube, we are currently live, and you can ask questions in the YouTube as well. But preferably, and we do prioritize those who are in the Zoom. So greetings to everyone. And please, guys, unmute your camera so we can see who we're interacting with, especially if you have a question. We really appreciate if you unmute your camera. Then you can ask your question, and then we will get to you. So again, we'll just allow a few minutes here for you to join. In the meantime, Dr. Amsi, what's good, son? Is my mic loud? I can hear everything.
Yeah, you know it is. I turned the speaker up when you guys was out the room.
Why'd you do that? So mischievous. I've never known a more mischievous grown man in my life.
I just wanted to see if you had noticed, but you hear it.
Then Dr.
Amsi, we sound live though.
I'm a studio engineer. I hear these things.
We sound live, so it's all good.
So what's going on with you, Dr. Amsi? Please, no politics.
No politics.
We're here to talk
a man, I was about to talk about the British Empire and everything, but
I'm sure we'll squeeze that in at some point.
Save that for another day, because we'll definitely get cancelled. Can't talk about the British Empire and the week of the Jubilee.
We can talk about the Queen's platinum Jubilee, right?
You know what's strange is the amount of colonized people who were really celebrating, my family included.
Did your mum have bunting out?
They had a whole, well, it wasn't my mum's thing, but family was out there with the old flags.
Your road was shut down, wasn't it? They blocked off your road, barricaded your road, and you had like the.
I live here. I don't have no road.
No.
And even if I lived on a street, it still wouldn't be mine. So Dr. Amsu, you can't own the land.
Dr.
Right?
Amsu, are you telling me that you had no bunting in your house for the Jubilee?
What in what over here?
Yeah.
Never.
You didn't wear your Union Jack boxer briefs to bed?
I think I was like 16.
16, the last time you wore Union Jack boxer briefs.
No, when I the
last time you cared.
When I woke up, I ain't gonna say became woke, because I don't like the term woke no more because of the people, what they're doing with the term woke right now. So I woke up at around 16 and I was totally rebel. I think it was before then, because listening to reggae music and them things there prior. But I think when I started getting more active as in rebellious against the system was when I was around 16. But there was bare paraphernalia, mugs and stuff of the royal family in my house. I grew up seeing that stuff. And
so for those of you who are unaware, living under a rock, especially for the Americans, I know the Caribbean people know all about this. So the Queen, is it 70 or 75? Right? Platinum is 70 years. 70. She's been, so she's the longest serving monarch.
1952.
70 years she's been in you call it power, in ruling the monarchy. And I remember the Silver Jubilee, her 25 years, and there was huge street parties then. And the 50th was, I don't remember the 50th actually, But anyway, we digress somewhere. How's everyone doing? Let us know in the chat how you're feeling. Give us some smiles, some kisses, waves. What's the one? Let's see the ones in the chat.
2002 was the 50th, by the way. I just did
You did the math.
Calculated that out.
20 years ago.
I remember 1977 was the Silver Jubilee.
Yeah. That's when the first one I
and
remember.
I proper celebrated that.
Yeah.
That was a great street.
That was sausage rolls and mince pies and all them something. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys,
the pork days.
Pork days, yeah. We digress. How's everyone doing? Please unmute your cameras, get your questions ready. So, Dr. Amsu, look. So, guys, again, for those of you it's your first time here, this is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions to us about your health goals, about our products, about our detoxes, about which detox is right for you, what it is that you need to do to get your health goals where they need to be. More importantly, what is it you've been doing that got you to where you are. Now, if you're doing great, you're an athlete, great. You know, what can we do to maintain that? What we're all trying to do here is get to a position where our older age, our senior years are fit. We have vitality and we can run and jump and make love to everyone we want, because we're not just suffering from ailments. So listen, we're going to jump to questions. Marva has had her hand up for a little while, and I will jump to that one. I recorded from the Zoom, the YouTube in a little bit, Hakim. So Marva, if you can unmute your camera and your mic, please, Marva.
Hi, good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon, Marva. How you doing?
Hi, Marva.
I'm good. I have been experiencing some pains in my lower back, my hip, and my right leg, in the leg of itself, not the groin or anything. I just finished the 14-day. I am still on the supplements, but this pain is like, some days it's more than some.
When did you complete the 14, Marva?
About a month ago or so.
And did you have the pain during the 14 or after you've done the 14?
No, this pain started like 2 weeks ago, but it's like consistent.
Right.
Okay. So have you been doing any form of exercising, training, working out?
I've been exercising my mouth.
Now, we all do that. If only we could build muscle from doing it, I think we'd all be athletes.
So you have not been doing the Qigong exercises?
No.
Were you doing the Qigong exercises during the 14?
Sporadically.
Okay. All right. So it's important, right? So this is a whole lifestyle change, right? Once you start doing detoxification and that, we're trying to get everybody into a lifestyle of exercising, right? Correct exercising, regular exercising, and also, with diet. With your diet, have you gone back to eating any kind of meat or dairy, cheese? That tells me that you have.
That was a long pause,
Yes, I ate meat, a little bit here and a little bit there because it was
delicious.
I did eat meat.
All right. So, all right. See, the reason why I'm asking you these questions is I want you to answer yourself as to why you're getting inflammation. Because pain, dolor, is inflammation. And whenever somebody tells me that they experience any kind of pain, I take them through this process so that they get that eureka moment that, you know what, my diet is contributing to this. The toxins that's in the food is contributing to this. And especially if, exercise is a constant form of detoxification as well, right? So every time we exercise, we're perspiring, and in our perspiration, or in our sweat, there are toxins, as well as, we do lose body salts, we do lose electrolytes and that which we replenish, but we get rid of toxins that may cause or will cause inflammation, right? But when you start eating meats again, you're introducing all the toxins, the antibiotics that may be in the meat, the whatever feed they've been feeding the stock, right? Whatever food it is, all the hormones that are in that, the parasites that are in there, the bacteria, that's all up in there, right? The viruses that are all up in there, all the microbes and pathogens, you reintroduce them to your body, and your body, after doing a detoxification, after you detox, your body is more sensitive, right? Especially if you have an old injury that was starting to, that you, during detoxification, that you started healing. When you reintroduce meat into your diet and other, untoward dietary substances, they're going to have an effect on you. So the whole system the lifestyle that we're trying to introduce and promote is that you do regular detoxing, but you do not reintroduce those foods that put you in a situation in the first place. Else it'll just be an ever decreasing circle.
Okay.
So the exercises that you were doing, you need to increase those to keep them up. At least if you go for daily walks and you do some squats and you do some jumping jacks or whatever exercises you're able to do, that you do those exercises because they help with the detoxification process. So on a daily basis, right, we want your body to be going through detoxification, right? So every time when you do a number 2 or number 1, that's a form of detoxification, right? Are you regular?
Yeah.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady? How many times a day?
I would say 2 times a day, as long as if I drink water first thing in the morning, I go then, and then after I drink my hot tea, I go again.
And when you drink your water, is it a warm water, room temperature at least?
Room temperature. I never cold water.
All right, good. And are you still taking the Claringa?
Yes, not every day.
All right, try to keep your Claringa going as well, right? So to answer your question, now did you have any old injuries or anything like that?
Well, my old injuries were
Did you have back pains ever before?
Pardon?
Have you ever had back pains before?
When I was like about 40, period pains, back pains.
Okay.
They say it was fibroids. I'm 67 years old.
All right. And do you lift any kind of heavy weights, or do you lift anything that you could have caused any kind of injury, like even if it's a slight injury that you didn't know?
No. Well, yes, I've been traveling, so maybe my suitcases.
And this is the thing with black women, right? Black women over the age of 40 or even over the age of 50, they back in the day it was grips. It wasn't even a suitcase. Right. It was a grip. I don't know how black women traveled back in the day. Like,
carried a lot of weight on them. Yeah.
I remember my mum had them grips in her bedroom, and they were so big. I was like, "What did you carry? Were you carrying people in this?" They're too heavy. They're way too heavy, and I think that's where the regulations came in on how much load you can carry. Because people traveling, especially to the West Indies, they try to carry all sorts.
Well, there's different reasons for that. That was to do with people trying to travel with meat and fish and snail and all that. I know why they shut down African flights, but
So again, the foods that you're eating, they're contributing to inflammation, and that inflammation could be initiating pain, or it could be, opening up old injuries, or maybe you have slight injuries that it's exacerbating.
Okay. Now this other question: which milk you recommend? I like cold. I like the gluten-free, dairy-free cold cereal, but I don't know what milk. I tried the almond milk. I don't like it.
You can use coconut milk. You can use hemp seed milk is like my favorite. You have you can create your own milk as well with like Brazil nuts or walnuts, and even there's oat milk as well. So there's different form. There's so many. So just put each of them on trial and see which one you like the best.
Okay.
And
all right, thank you.
Thank you. And Marva, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on that point about the milk. So, as you know, there's a vegan and health vegetarian craze. So, all of the big corporations are jumping on this, right? So they're stamping vegan on anything that doesn't have animal products in it. However, it's an opportunity for them to, use the back catalogue of chemicals they have. And so it's finding its way into some of these, non-dairy milks and so on. So again, with everything, guys, just check the ingredients and try and find milk that has the fewest ingredients as possible. I personally started using the milked products, Dr. Amsu. So it's not oat milk, it's milked oats. And what that means is that all they do is basically add water and blend it to a milky texture, as opposed to creating a milk type thing from plants, because they use chemicals and emulsifiers to do that. So
you go to the bougie.
I
You go to the bougie Whole Foods, innit? That's why you're talking about milk.
Yes, I do. but now you're finding these. So Publix, Kroger. You just got to look through the brands. There was a brand recently who makes.
I buy my stuff from Whole Foods or Wegmans.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with Whole Foods though. So, we've had this, not so much of a debate, but Whole Foods are very, very smart, and especially since Amazon has bought them. If you notice,
you guys are gonna lock up.
I beg your pardon?
You guys are going to go to jail.
Yeah, we know. So we're trying to get as much out as possible before they shut down the YouTube and then they send us to prison. But Whole Foods is fast becoming a upscale Publix, and so they know that once they've got the clientele they want in there, they can sell them anything, right? So they'll do enough of the sort of eclectic things. But if you really study the aisles in Whole Foods, there's a lot of the stuff you find in Publix and Kroger, maybe Whole Foods a little bit. Obviously, they've got their own brand, and in there's this brand, I think it's called Oatly. Now, Oatly was bought recently for over $1 billion. Now, this is before Oatly made its way into Whole Foods. So they saw the potential of non-dairy milks. Over $1 billion they bought this company for. So straight away, people started researching their oat milk. And if lo and behold, if we look at their oat milk, there are some chemicals inside the Oatly oat milk. I'm just sharing it out there with you as well, because they're preying on us people who are trying to live clean and sort of sneaking the chemicals in there. So again, as Dr. Amsa said, just check the ingredients. But single ingredient, as close to water and the plant as you can get. Then you can have your non-gluten cereal, Marva. Okay.
Okay.
Now, and I just did a quick
you
Google search to remind myself, right, to get some facts on carrageenan, everybody. Carrageenan. Right? So in a lot of these vegan milks, you have to be careful of carrageenan. Carrageenan has become part of a controversy, right? It's from Irish moss, right? Carrageenan is an extract chemical from Irish moss. But it has come under ill repute from scientists who claim that it causes IBS, even colon cancer, and it's highly inflammatory and toxic, right? So again, when we eat whole foods, so if we have Irish moss and it's Chondrus crispus, right? There may be trace elements or properties which, when isolated, can be toxic, but the plant in itself has other properties that will neutralize any toxic elements, right? But when they start extracting and using stuff to help to thicken, right? To thicken and emulsify or whatever these
to get that texture.
Products to get that texture, now it becomes dangerous. So beware carrageenan, all right?
There you go. So guys, there it is. There's a science right there. In fact, so before I jump to Michelle and Tanika, Dr. Keela, I think you had something to add. What's your favorite milk?
I make coconut milk, but I recognize I didn't like the store-bought stuff because it's lacking. A lot of times, like you said, it's lacking the emulsifiers, but it's healthier milk. The trick to making your own coconut milk taste better is just a few things. You need some coconut fat in it because the fat in anything helps your taste buds detect the different chemical elements in it that you find pleasurable. You need some sea salt because that activates the taste receptors that stimulate your brain. You need some coconut palm sugar. It's going to turn the milk a slight light brown color, but it's better than processed sugar because it's a low glycemic index sugar, and it's basically coconut sap that's been crystallized. And you need real vanilla extract, not better yet vanilla bean, because vanilla extract has alcohol in it. And if you're not one that consumes alcohol for any reason, then you want the vanilla bean, because that imparts the taste that our brains are accustomed to as milk.
Yeah.
If the milk you make has those elements in it, and if you want a thicker milk, the key is when you blend down your dried unsweetened coconut flakes, or if you take the coconut meat out and you blend it with water, spring water or such, that what ends up happening is that, I'm well, sir, how are you? You end up emulsifying down the fats. When you boil it down, you're going to emulsify the fats. And then, oh no, I'm on the phone, yeah. And then what ends up happening is you put your salt, you take out, and you mix in the whole batch. You take out half of that mixture and you slowly, on a slow rolling boil, you boil it down just a little bit more. So you see some of the cream, the froth come up, and then you add it back, you'll have the texture you want. You don't have to miss out. And it's not a hard thing, and it doesn't take all day to make.
Wow, thanks for that. We're gonna have to do a special, Dr. Keela. We're gonna do a video, get you in a kitchen in an apron, and show us the correct way to make coconut milk with.
I wanted to ask Marva something. Marva, do you have Joint RX?
Have what?
Joint RX. Do you have Joint RX, the supplement?
No, that's the one that is free this week.
What? That's free? How you mean? All right, so Joint RX is what you need, right, for your inflammation, that the back and joint pains that you are experiencing. But stop eating meat. Stop with the meat and that. But Joint RX is going to help you out a lot. And what you want to do, you might have to do some alternative day fasting, where you fast for one day and then eat the next day, fast one day, do on and off while you're trying to get that inflammation down. But you need Joint RX.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Marva, thank you.
And we'll put the link into the
We will.
yeah.
Okay, we will. We shall. Thank you, Marva. Stay online. You're gonna learn some more. We want to hear more from you later on as well. Michelle, how are you doing?
Hey, Michelle.
I think you're muted, Michelle.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you.
Hi, good afternoon. I have a question, two questions. The first thing is there a call-in number? Or it's just the Zoom link? Someone was asking about a call-in number.
There should be, right?
No.
But
A call-in number,
a
like a
call-in
telephone
number, yeah,
number.
like Zoom always has a call-in number, but because we give the bit.ly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can find that. Someone's trying to, but if they
Yeah,
call
she
in,
said she can't get on Zoom, so she was asking if there was a call-in number. So
give me a minute, Michelle. I'll try and find that for you.
okay, you can just post it, and
And
I'll
she can
pull it from
also
there.
come in on YouTube as well.
I think the issue might be that she can't
She can't get
be at
online.
a screen, but I mean, she can pull up Zoom and not
Yeah.
Okay.
be looking at it. She can listen, but I'll remind her YouTube also.
I'm sure you look nice.
Thanks, Auntie.
You look very nice, Michelle.
You do.
It doesn't count. You should have said it
You
first.
should have said it first. Yeah.
I was gonna, but he interrupted me.
Okay, let me ask. My question is: so they've told my mother-in-law's had low iron, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me to ask this months ago. But so now they want to do a bone marrow biopsy to determine what's the deal with that. So and I was asking her, like, what are they gonna find out when they do that, or why they want to do that? And it says she's anemic and her blood count is low.
What's her hemoglobin level?
I have no idea, but it looks like looks like I'll be able to log into her chart. So I'll log into her chart and then maybe I'll come back on, because she just sent us a picture of what has to get done in the date. But what I want to know is, she's been taking iron pills, I think, for several months now, and apparently the levels aren't rising. So I want to know what supplements she ought to take, and like what questions she ought to ask her doctor. What is this supposed to do? what are they looking for? What's going to tell them, what she needs to, so Dr. Keela can tell me what I need to tell her that she needs to know so she can make an informed decision.
All right. So our supplement for iron deficiency is called Anemio.
Okay.
And we have a pamphlet, an ebook or e-pamphlet that comes with Anemio that tells you how to get your iron, right?
Okay.
What foods are iron rich and what foods are iron inhibitors, iron absorption inhibitors, right? So she might be eating foods.
Because that's what I was wondering, if she's eating something that's blocking the absorption.
Right. And so foods, and I've said this repeatedly here on these Zoom calls, that a lot of foods that would be good for you, such as blueberries, and I always use blueberries because blueberries is like the standard of health, right? But if you're anemic and there are certain polyphenols within blueberries that actually inhibit iron absorption. So when you're trying to get your iron, if you are iron deficient, this will stop you from absorbing iron. Iron and other proteins and other minerals, they actually are in competition for absorption. There are things like copper and ascorbic acid that help with iron absorption, right? But there are other things like calcium and proteins and specific polyphenols that usually are good, but when you're iron deficient, they're not good. All right.
Okay.
So the anemia dietary guide is called. The anemia dietary guide gives information, sheds light and insight into what foods she needs to incorporate, plant-based foods she needs to incorporate into her diet, and what food she needs to omit while she's trying to get her iron. So it's not that she stops taking foods that are good for her. It's just that when she's trying to get her iron,
raise it.
Not to for a few hours on either side of getting her her iron, she shouldn't eat or consume these substances. Okay.
So maybe she should take the blood RX too, or just the anemia?
She can do blood RX as well, but anemia is the is the main
specifically
thing.
For that
and
condition.
Where does she live as well?
She lives in New York.
All right, so D3 as well.
D3, right?
Yeah.
She was taking a D, and she's probably finished with it. So I'll order one of yours. It wasn't yours, but it was liquid. Okay. But I'll order and I'll send.
And make sure when she does take them that she's holding them. When she takes them together and holds them under her tongue for a good 5 to 10 minutes before swallowing. Yeah.
Okay,
Michelle, thank you. I'm having trouble finding that dial-in number because the ones we have, so to keep this link the same, we had to do it on an external service and it doesn't give you a number. So I'm going to try one of the old numbers, have her try that. If that doesn't work, we'll have to try plan B. Try and find out what it is she's trying to connect to, because if she can dial in and she has a smartphone, she should be able to get in on her phone. Is she here in America or she's abroad?
Yeah, she's here. She's local. She's in Kentucky or something.
Yeah. Try and find out what device she's using. She should be able to get on with just a phone.
But she was saying that she couldn't. I think maybe she just wanted to listen because she said she couldn't get on Zoom right now. So I think it might be
where she is, the location, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably maybe she's doing something and she can't be in front of a screen. I'm going to
I'll find the number and share it with you. And we can just try that number and see. And if that doesn't work, she'll just have to wait till she can get on.
Can I ask Dr. Keeler a question? Dr. Keeler, is there anything that she needs to, like my mother needs to know about the bone marrow biopsy, or she needs to ask or make sure she understands or anything like that?
I would say first, hi. I know that must be very frustrating for her. Bone marrow biopsies are painful. Expect that piece of it. Expect to be sore during and after the process. But they're basically looking at if number one, a lot of the ability
That's it.
for bones to make heme, which is the oxygen carrying molecule within oxygen carrying molecule that's incorporated into a protein called globin to make hemoglobin. Um, your bones do that. They do that incorporation process, but it depends on the intestine to have the right carriers to even absorb it in the blood, and then to have the right carrier protein called ferritin within the blood itself to get it to the bone. So there are a lot of moving parts here.
Mm.
Have they done endoscopy on her? Like, have they put a tube?
Right. She hasn't mentioned that, but I don't know for sure, but I'll ask specifically about that
Okay.
because she
So
hasn't mentioned that.
they should have done prior to all of the bone, because bone marrow biopsy is very invasive. They should have done
Right.
other workups done prior to that, included endoscopy, which is when they look from using a tube with a camera at the end through your mouth into
Mm-hmm.
uh, your esophagus to look for bleeding in your stomach, as well as in your duodenum, which is the first part of your small intestine. They will have also done a colonoscopy to see if she had any lesions there from which she may have been experiencing blood loss. So those should have already been done first. Her ferritin, which is the iron carrying protein in the blood that carries iron from the gut into through the blood into the bone marrow, that should have been done. Um, uh, serum iron studies. Serum iron should have been assessed to make sure that it's not abnormally low or high, because there's a lot of biochemistry at work with that too. Um, like I said, there are a lot of moving parts, but has she looked at her bowel movements to make sure they're not dark and tarry? Does she have the want to always chew ice? Usually and then, yeah, that's indication of um, real iron deficiency. It happens with pregnant women a lot, but also with women, especially Black women who are men, still have menses. But the other thing is, um, does she have other mineral deficiencies of the same charge? Now, what I mean by that is she also copper deficient, manganese deficient, magnesium deficient? Because if she's also deficient in those, that speaks more to a small bowel issue in which her small bowel, namely her duodenum, that's the first part that comes off the stomach, that may have some dysfunction. And usually, when that has dysfunction, you're going to be copper deficient, which is going to affect your hair, your skin, your joints. You're going to be, and it will also affect your hair. Is she selenium deficient? Because if she's selenium deficient as well, that means she's not making enough thyroid hormone. They also need to check our thyroid hormone because you need iron to um, convert thyroid hormone. You need selenium to actually make thyroid hormone. So they need to also check, is she deficient in other minerals of the same charge as iron? Because that will tell them even more so if it's a small bowel issue or if it's a bone marrow issue. You see what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, go
um,
ahead.
so what is it that usually, I know you can't tell me specific for her case, but what is it they're usually looking for? Do they think they will be
How old is
told?
she?
But she's in her like mid 70s, maybe 74, 75, 76 in there.
Okay, at the low end, they're when I say the low end, I mean like least invasive end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's why they usually start out looking at the bowel because it's easier and less painful. At the low end, they'll be looking for absorption issues in the duodenum, bleeding in the esophagus, stomach, or large bowel. At the high end, they may be looking for um, blood dyscrasias, which is basically saying they'll be looking for abnormalities in red blood cell formation or maturation. And at the high end, they would be looking for things like leukemia, particularly leukemia. Um, well, let me say, just say red cell dyscrasias, because sorry about that. I got distracted by a rabbit. And wildlife normally doesn't come this close. In any case, at they're looking for everything, but when they're doing specific tests, they're looking for specific things. And if they get to the point of doing bone marrow biopsy, they're looking for leukemias.
Okay.
Okay,
So
because
with
let me just say this: with leukemia, sometimes people will become anemic. Sometimes they'll have bleeding and clotting issues. And because blood cells, whether immune cells or red cells, are formed there, they're basically looking at the source of what forms the cell.
okay,
And has he been exposed to any toxins? That's a big one. Toxins would be
well, she lives in New York, so
Live
alcohol.
in New
that's
York,
toxin
so
number
It's
blatant,
one.
standard, yeah.
blatant
Okay,
is
so that's
standard.
toxin. That's
And
But
toxic
but she
syndrome.
eats
disrespect, disrespect.
the
No, it's
truth.
not necessarily disrespect. I don't say that to be offensive. New York, the the, the environment, air, water, even the soil is toxic. The closer you live to an airport is going to be toxic. I have relatives that live near JFK. Everybody that lived in that one house that's in the direct line of flight of airplanes coming in are leaving, everybody developed cancer. Everybody, whether it was small cell carcinoma, bowel cancer, or leukemia. So it's not a disparagement. Everything is very close. And unfortunately, they have put homes and the people who live in those homes in the line of fire by having neighborhoods around airports. That is completely unconscionable. Jet fuel, aerosolized jet fuel rains down on people all the time. Not only that, you have the noise pollution. Both affect cells. So it's not a disparagement, it's a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Dr. Keeler, Michelle,
Okay,
thank you for the
thank you.
conversation. And Michelle, as you know, you can always drop us an email or get in touch with us, and we can have further conversation around that. If your mum's going in for those checks, let's try and get on top of that, right? And
Right.
of course, let us know what the results are. We can have Dr. Keeler and Dr. Amsi have a look at those as well. So, Michelle, please stick around. Do you have any other questions, Michelle?
No, just one. So it's not unreasonable to ask if I look at her chart and all of these haven't been. It's not unreasonable to request these prior to the biopsy.
It's not unreasonable. Actually, it's standard of care for them to
Okay.
start with least invasive tests,
Hmm.
as namely blood work. Now, checking the levels of other minerals in her blood outside of what's standard in a Chem 7 or a Chem 10, which is basically sodium, um, like your standard minerals that they'll check in your blood when they check blood work will be sodium, chloride, potassium, and bicarb. If they want to investigate further, they may request calcium and magnesium levels. Iron studies are typically done in which they not only check what is the level of iron in your blood, but how much ferritin, which is the carrying molecule, there is, what's the capacity? That's the TIBC, total iron binding capacity. And then they may check other things beyond that. By the time they get to bone marrow biopsy, all those other things should have been done, including the endoscopy.
Hmm.
Well, before they do the endoscopy, they will do a guaiac test, which is where they will do a stool sample, a swipe and tab on a little card looking for any evidence of blood. If they, at her age, they won't stop there. They will do the colonoscopy, which is looking from down up into the colon, and they'll do the endoscopy, which is looking from up down into the esophagus, stomach, and small intestine. Now, it's all that tubing in between that they really can't see unless they use a remote probe with a camera, which would be a camera in a pill, in a capsule that will take recordings and transmit to a computer um, until it is passed out in the feces. But that's not done as often. It's usually colonoscopy and endoscopy. But by the time they get to bone marrow biopsy, they should have even checked her thyroid, because if the thyroid is not working right, it can be also indicative that she's mineral deficient,
Okay,
Okay.
thank
particularly
you.
of iron. I hope that helps. I know it's a lot of information at once, but a lot of people in our community don't even know the test to ask for, and it puts us at a disadvantage.
You know, I was just about to say that, Dr. Keeler.
Yeah, because I'm like,
Yeah.
that seems like that. I mean, I don't know. And if she'd had a colonoscopy done or an endoscopy, she would have said something to us. So I'm wondering. I'll figure out how to get into her chart and see what's been done, because this just seems so. And they're just like, oh, it's only, they're making it sound like it's not a big deal, and I think it's a very big deal. So.
And also, you know, in Western medical practices, there are, you know, in the East, particularly in Japan and in Asia, they've been arguing that blood is formed in the intestines for years, saying you Western scientists have got it wrong. It's not formed in the bone marrow. Bone marrow formation of blood cells is last resort, you know. So again, with the correct education, and you know, because black people are not educated, or people in general are not educated to a point where we know what to ask for. We're basically sitting ducks, right? The Environmental Protection Agency is supposed to protect us from toxins, from things like jet fuel, to make sure that within a specific, you know, a certain perimeter, that this is non-living area. Now, in Georgia, how many airports we got?
There's over 50.
Over 50 airports in Georgia, but we don't even know they're there, right? I know like 2 airports.
Most people couldn't name 3 airports in Georgia.
Right, 2 or 3, but there's 50.
There's about 5
right?
just around Atlanta.
So, you know, the exposure to toxins, we rely on the government to give us information, but they're lobbied. They have cheap housing, right? So, you know, affordable housing, this is where they put affordable housing, is in areas where, you know, your middle class white and upper class white people would never live. They would never live there, you know. But us, in our ignorance, we think, man, I can afford that house. And we go and it's like near the airport. I put up with the noise, but we don't know about we're not too sure about the pollution, and it affects so many different things. But all this to say, the education that black people need, and this is one of the this is one of many things that our non-profit Electric Health, that's the stuff that we're doing a whole bunch of research and investigations and exposure on these things, so that black people are more educated to know what affects their health and the types of questions to ask their physicians when they're being told, oh, you need this.
Exactly.
You need that, you know. And there, you know, everything we've been talking about for years about hysterectomies, right? That they're so quick to push black women into hysterectomies, you know, to harvest their wombs and then sell them, you know. So there's a whole bunch that we need to educate everybody about, so that we're in a better position.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Dr. Keeler. Dr. Of course. So guys, if you have questions, I know there are a couple I'm trying to pull from the IG and the YouTube, but again, we do prioritize those of you on the Zoom. Please unmute your cameras, unmute your microphones, and saying that we're going to turn to Tanika, who hasn't been around for weeks now.
Tanika!
We're going to put out an APB for you and find out where you were. I've not even seen you on IG. What's going on, Tanika?
I've been grieving.
Grieving.
Yes,
Oh,
I've
sorry to
been
hear that.
grieving. Hmm. Oh no, I appreciate the check-in. What I wanted to ask was about CMOS and thyroid function. I was told that like CMOS can interfere with thyroid function because of iodine. Is that
It depends.
true?
All right. So iodine is an essential property and an essential mineral for thyroid function, right? But if you are hyperthyroid, right, that's where iodine, an an excess of iodine would be adverse. So if you are hypothyroid, iodine is needed.
Okay, so that's low, like
So it's
low
one of those
thyroid.
things. All right. So thyroid function, there's a small window of thyroid hormone, T3 and T4 for you to produce where there's the balance, right? It's in the range of thyroid hormone, there's a small window of correct function. And then you either producing too much, which makes you hyperthyroid, or too little, which makes you hyperthyroid. Now, most
Okay,
black women are hypothyroid, so they're not getting enough iodine, right? Or
okay,
whatever, or there's dysfunction through whatever nutrient deficiency there is, right? Including iodine. It doesn't only fall down to iodine. It might be, it might be an endocrinal issue that affects thyroid stimulating hormone, you know,
okay,
and TRH and TSH, right? If there's an issue between those two, that also affects production of thyroid hormone T3 and T4. But you have to be careful when you're just getting somebody just throws information out there that, you know what, this interferes with the thyroid. Interfering with everything interferes with everything. But is it
mm-hmm.
a good interference or a bad interference?
Okay.
That is the question,
Thank you.
and
Thank
it
you,
takes
baby.
trace amount of certain it takes trace amount of minerals and of vitamins and of proteins of enzymes to take effect in your body, to trigger something, to start a cascade, to initiate cascades. So we are very sensitive beings, but we have so many checks and balances going on, billions, trillions of them going on every second to keep us at homeostasis. But through nutrient deficiencies and chronic nutrient deficiencies, that's where we start to get dysfunction. And chronic toxin consumption and metabolism creates issues as well. So when somebody says, oh, be careful of this, it's like, well, what condition does it affect? So the thyroid gland is a very important gland. It's responsible for metabolic processes in the body, but it depends on what type of thyroid dysfunction, and I'm saying that very clearly, dysfunction you experience or that you have, that will determine whether or not iodine can affect you adversely. But iodine is a very important substance. It's
Okay.
a very important chemical that the body does need. So, you know, most people are ignorant, and not bad ignorant, but just they're not educated in different properties, different chemicals, the way how different minerals and proteins and what have you work and what's available for the body. So when something is brought up, right, now you're going to have somebody thinking iodine is bad. Oh, iodine interferes with the thyroid. No, iodine is essential for the thyroid, but depends on if you have a dysfunction or not.
Okay. Yeah, I had got some blood work done, and it sure had like slight hypo thyroidism. That's a word. That's a term.
Well, yeah.
And so I was doing CMO. Well, let me circle around and find out.
Yeah. So with hypothyroid, it's usually indicative that you don't have enough iodine.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to ask, so you guys were talking about being near airport. So it's like we're literally like
and where do you
almost
live?
like running out of options
Where do you
as far
live?
as like in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're running out of options of where to live.
Right. And so like what are like things to do when you talk about like these environmental toxins that act as like protective factors? When we talk about like, making sure we're eating, getting rid of dairy and meat and things like that. But
one of the things, and I'm going to refer to Dr. Keeler in a second so that she can go give her, because I love Dr. Keeler's breakdowns, right? I love him, Dr. Keeler, right? But real quick, you live in a very big country. One of the advantages of being a United States citizen or resident, you can move anywhere you want to. Anywhere you want to in this very big country. You have a choice, right? You don't have to stay in Ohio, man. You can get out of Ohio. Get out. If this is the black section, and it's near an airport or it's near some pig farm or something like that, and they're spraying the air with toxins and all that. Move. You have to move. If your environment isn't correct, it's gonna not only affect you, it's gonna affect your child or children. It's gonna affect your parents, your husband, your sisters, your brothers, everybody. You don't have to. And one of the things, black people are very homely. We're not very adventurous. We're very right wing. We're very conservative. So we like to have somewhere where family grew up and this is where our family's from and we stay there, right? But when something is no longer conducive for you to thrive, right, which is not good for your culture, right? Culture is anywhere where an entity, an organism can thrive. That's a culture, right? That's a true definition of culture. If it's not conducive for you to thrive in great health, you've got to move.
And on that, Tanika, as well is, it's difficult for a lot of people, economically, of course, as to get up and move, right? But we had this conversation maybe a few months ago. We had a big debate about, people leaving the South and going up north, and, what lengths are people willing to go to for their health, right? Now, we can talk about what lengths people will go to for a job, for a loved one, right? For their kids' school. People are breaking the law in Georgia. They're lying about where they live to get their kids into a certain school, right? But when it comes to health, it's sort of put on the back burner. It's like, hey, this is my lot, right? And what we're saying is let's put health up on the list with the car, the house, the neighborhood you want to live in, the school you want your kids to go to. We go to enormous lengths to ensure we have the right things in those areas, right? So let's put health on there as well. You'd be so surprised the very little, maybe, increase in rent you may have to pay to go and live in a better part of Cleveland. So you may not have to move to Georgia. Yeah, we'd love to have you down here, but maybe just moving, to an area of Cleveland that isn't next to the pig farm.
Cleveland?
Is that where you said you were? Cleveland, Ohio?
No, I'm saying Cleveland though.
No, but listen, one thing I know about America, right? America is massive. It's extremely diverse. And remember, America is on planet Earth. Yes, they're doing their best to try and, riddle it with disease. However, there are still huge parts of America that are, I wouldn't say untouched, but are quite clean and good to live in, which is like Dr. Am said, this is where certain people get to live. We have to just creep in around there. I've done it myself. We used to live in, middle of, can I say bumfuck, Georgia. And I found out from a friend, but no, there are certain parts of the Buckhead, Atlanta that you could live in, right? And I did some research and lo and behold, it was more or less the same as my mortgage to go and live in in fact, I'll tell you a very quick story before we move to Dr. Keeler. My car broke down because I still had a shitty old car when I moved up here, right? And my car broke down, and so I called Geico to come and get, to tow my car. And whilst I was on the phone with her, the lady came and said, "Oh, Mr. Lai, we noticed that you've moved. Your new address. Oh, you're in this zip code now. Do you realize that your insurance has gone down? So when I moved to the new zip code, my insurance went down. So there's so many benefits. There's a segue there. Dr. Keeler.
moved out of the nigger, out the nigger insurance.
Dude, my insurance went down.
That's what I'm saying. It's racism.
There are some ancillary benefits as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Keeler, you wanted to come in and share something on this.
So I'll give you an example, and I get your frustration. Having relatives that had to cross water into a different country to which they were already born citizens, but their citizenship was not recognized. They moved. My grandparents moved into a section of town that is high real estate, but at the time when they lived there, it wasn't considered high real estate. Even though Black people in the neighborhood maintained their place very nicely, they moved to the U.S. in the 50s. When choosing a place to live, one of the things that I learned from my great grandparents is, can you plant on the land? Does the groundwater of the land have pollutants, or is it relatively clean? Do you have tree cover near your area? Is your house east-west facing? Now, these things may seem like real estate issues, but really they're health issues. And, everything at the end of everything is about your health. Like James Brown would say, every instrument is a drum at the end of the day. Because it really is. It's a percussion. Piano is percussion. You got to pluck a cello. Is it a cello or a... You got to either press or pluck something to make the instrument.
Bass.
Yeah, bass. Thank you, senor.
Guitar.
Everything is percussion at the end. And people thought James Brown was ridiculous, but he wasn't in that regard. He was not. He was absolutely right. So if push came to shove and you had to move somewhere, Ohio has a lot of farmland because I'm in Ohio. And it's not even far from where I live. I live about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Columbus. There's a lot of farmland between Columbus and where I live. Would you be willing, if you could, and the area was conducive, to live there? I know a place called Huntsburg, Ohio. It's about 2.5 hours from Columbus. My grandfather's sister and her husband lived there for like 50 years. It's still farmland out there. And you can get homes for really decent prices out there. They had so much farmland, you could have built a whole community out there. So it's about where you're willing to live. I know one thing, if I had my druthers, I would probably relocate outside of the U.S. if possible. Because one thing I saw outside of the U.S., when I live outside of the U.S., is that I don't care what employment people had, whether they were a banker, a doctor, they worked in hotel, they worked in a university. I don't care how big or small the island was. People had a patch of land where they grew their own food.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, house and land is big in the Caribbean. And especially big among people of Jamaican descent. I don't care how rich they would get, they always want house and land.
Yeah, and I think it talks, Dr.
It's important. It's important, and make sure wherever you move, your house is east-west facing. This is why, without enough sunlight in the day to wake you up or to indicate when it's time to go to sleep, your circadians will get very thrown off. So you don't want a north-south facing house. You're going to spend more on electric, and it's going to throw off your circadians. Number 2, make sure that your land is not landfill. Landfill lands, the homes always end up having flooding problems. On the same street, the bottom of the street can be landfill swamp. Ohio has a lot of swamp. The upper part of the street can be solid foundation. Number 3, make sure you do not live near a waste disposal center, because it's going to contaminate your groundwater, which means your air is also going to be polluted, because whatever is in the groundwater eventually comes to the surface and ends up in the air. Number 4, know the fauna and flora of where you live. because if you're not cognizant, you can be living in an area that's endemic to certain poisonous species and you will not even know it. I know Georgia has a lot of black snakes out there. I have friends in Georgia that have told me that, so they are very mindful. And number five, even if you live in an area that is endemic with certain things, if you have male relatives, make sure they come around with regularity and make a urine fence around your house because it will keep away a lot of the wildlife. They smell the testosterone and don't want to come onto your land.
Indeed. Great advice. And it's funny, you know, I always refer to things we talked about already. So, you know, there's a whole movement now, Tanique and everyone else. It's about a paradigm shift, right? And the paradigm shift is for us going back to how we used to live. Now, when people hear that, they think, oh, here we go. You know, you want, you know, little house in the prairie, homesteaders, and right, we're going back to the Dashikis living in Africa. But there's a lot to be said for that type of living, right? And what you're finding now, there are more companies, funny enough, in Europe, you know, Denmark and Sweden and South America, who are integrating traditional forms of living, right? Including the recycling and planting, everyone planting certain types of their own fruits, and then you sort of, you know, using co-ops to buy fruit and vegetables.
We're talking about the mud,
the mud brick. You know, you know, there was there's a movement now in West Africa, Ghana, for example, where we're reusing mud, because mud brick is better than cement brick and it's better than the aggregate brick because it keeps you cool, it's ergonomic, and it's biodegradable. And it's natural and it's free for the most part, unless you have to buy the land where you get the mud from. But everyone turned their nose up at it because it's mud brick. Oh, that's you know, it's not only for poor people, it's archaic. Now you've got companies making mud bricks and selling them for quite a bit of money. So, you know, the paradigm shift, guys, is that we have to sort of take a second look at this convenience that we've been conditioned to appreciate and start to look at, you know, the salubrious nature of our environment. So appreciate that, Tanika. Thanks for the questions. Keep us updated on what happens in Cleveland. I know LeBron's not going back. Thank you,
Columbus.
Dr. Keela. Columbus, okay, all right. Don't want to get that wrong, you know. Laverne, oh guys, just remember, if you've got questions, let me know. I do have a couple of questions I'll be getting to from the IG and the YouTube, the YouTube in just a minute. But again, we do prioritize those of you in the Zoom. So please unmute your cameras and let us have it, Laverne. Oh, Laverne's in the mall.
And really quickly, I wanted to say as well, when you're looking for a home, you were talking about, we look at what schools, the amenities,
right?
But we never look at the EPA reports. Mm-hmm. We never look at, well, what environment am I actually moving into? What's the level of toxicity? What's the air pollution like? We never look at those things. We just think about, oh, how nice is the house?
Yeah.
How nice is the neighborhood? How good is the school?
Urban sprawl is a big thing. Very quickly, sorry, just jumping off something Keela said as well. You know, a lot of towns and cities have waste dumps or landfills, polluted soil. And after so many years, they're allowed to reclaim that land, right? And that, you know, sometimes you find, hey, there's land for sale. And it's really cheap land for some reason. You think, wait, where did this land come from? We've never heard of it, because that was a landfill or something some years ago. It passed the 15 or 25 year statutory, you know, time lapse, whatever it is, and they start building on it. And these are the houses that end up having the structural problems as well. So anyway, we shall come back to that. I could have sworn I saw Laverne.
Laverne, yeah. Laverne.
She's at the jewelers or something. Oh, Laverne's in the gym, I bet.
Yeah, you can come back to me.
Are you in the middle of your set?
Yeah.
Wait, Laverne, you're working out with a mask on. All right, we'll talk about that as well.
Started up in this place.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
We will talk about the dangers of working out in a mask.
In a mask, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let us know. We'll come back to you. Give us another wave.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
You
Laverne.
go ahead and come back to me. Thank you.
Okay. Moving over to Camille, or Camille's iPhone. Please unmute your camera and your mic, Camille.
Yeah. Hi. How are you, everyone? Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Just want to ask a general question. Just want to find a little bit more because I'm doing I'm having a lot of liquid in the day and have one meal in the night. I don't know if when you have a lot of fruits, if it does make the fibroid grow as well, because I realized from I start having more fruits, I realized that my fibroid am growing a little bit more. I don't know.
Okay, now, what fruits are you eating?
Well, I have mango, I have watermelon, I have grapes,
Okay.
strawberry, and kale, and lots of sweet fruits.
All right.
So I don't
And
know.
are you on the fibroid elimination program?
Well, apparently, I'm gonna buy a kit next week because I have to get my wages. So when I tell you I get my wages, and this will be my first buying of the kit. So I'm just gonna buy it next week.
Okay.
So yeah,
All
yes,
right. So first and foremost, all right. So because you're eating fruits and vegetable does not mean that they're safe for your fibroids, right? There are substances known as phyto, PHYTO, estrogens. These
yes,
are from
extended, yes,
plants. These are
yes,
from
yes.
plants. These come from fruits, right? And it depends on whether or not those
I want to go put on my top.
all right, let's mute Laverne, please. Yeah, whether or not that produce is one organically grown or wild, if they contain pesticides or fertilizers that are estrogenic or not, that's all, that will be all through it, right? So when you're buying things like grapes and strawberries, there's this list that comes out every year called the Dirty Dozen, right? And it
Okay.
lists the foods that are most contaminated by by pesticides and fertilizers, right?
Okay, okay. I'm listening. I'm listening.
That and you don't want to buy conventionally grown foods that are on the Dirty Dozen. You make sure you get organic and wild,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
even though you're eating fruits and vegetables, it still might not be good for you, depending on what you're eating, and especially with like the type of kale, because certain vegetables are what we call goitrogenic. They can attack the goiter or the thyroid gland and produce goiter, right, which is an inflammation of the thyroid gland and cause thyroiditis, whether it will cause hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, or hypothyroidism, which is Hashimoto's, right? Depends on your epigenetics, right? And what other substances are affecting you. But if you look on, when you get the fibroid kit, you know, the
Yes.
Great Black Fibroid Detox, right?
Okay.
The Got Fibroids Fibroid Elimination Bible, one of the foods that we tell you to cut out while you're eliminating is kale, normal kale. We encourage dinosaur kale, but the kale that they have out there, and you know, the whole vegan community, you know, they swear by kale. Kale is so great and everything, but it depends on the kale what you're getting and how that kale is grown.
Okay, because I realize, I'm not gonna lie, from a change my diet, I'm not gonna lie, I feel really strong.
Okay.
I have I have more energy, but only thing, as usual, you know, if you change your eating, you're gonna get skinny. But I just feel I've got a lot more energy, way more than ever. I'm not tired anymore. I feel real good, but it's the only thing I just get skinny. But I have to exercise. But the problem now what I have now, I just realized that I got the iron hernia. So I don't know if it's true, because I've been, I don't know what they said. I don't know if it's true. Like, I know people have a lot of things to say. It's like when your intake, or true, because we're normally eating food before, now we switch to fruits. So it's like your body open up. It's like, I always say it open up, so it's like it maybe give a wear and tear in your body. Like, say your body don't absorb a lot of it. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to explain, like your body
I think we understand what you're saying is, you know, the change in
yes.
diet causes obviously changing the digestive system, and your body takes some beating, right, trying to adapt to that.
Yes.
But again, you know, as Dr. Amsu and Dr. Keeley talk about all the time, is that in changing your diet and removing toxins, interestingly, it's that pain barrier you go through at Dr. Amsu, and you start to expose things about yourself that you didn't realize before. And then your body goes through a cleansing, and this cleansing can lend itself to rashes, to pain, to, you know, strange bruising and things like that. So this is probably a way your body's actually detoxifying.
Going through a transition.
Yeah.
And but here's the most important thing though, right? Is this. So, some women are very fortunate that when they change their diet, that's enough for them to start eliminating fibroids. But most, especially those who live in the city, right?
Yeah.
Who are surrounded by pollution and what have you, and maybe in a food desert or whatever, right? This is where the supplements work their magic, right? The supplements are so important because they provide your body with the resources to inhibit the excess estrogen, to inhibit tumorous growth, you know, to provide the correct resources to balance hormones and to repair cells.
So let me tell you something. So sometimes some foods they take, it can make your estrogen level go up or down, isn't it? So I don't know, because it seems like to me like the fibroid like sweets. I don't know if they like sweet things, you know.
Right. So so there are a lot of substances that react to high levels of sugar, right? And again, your body does not differentiate when it starts to use sugars. Your body does not differentiate, so it doesn't know a good sugars from bad sugars, from refined sugars, from processed sugars, right? So there are things like glycemic index, where you can have something that's a great sugar, but it does not cause insulin to spike and to store fat and, you know, what have you, right? There are sugars which encourage growth hormone, which helps to get protein into muscle, right?
Okay. Yes.
As opposed to storing energy in fat and causing, you know. So one of the things why you said that you're going skinny, right? And I hope you're going slim but not mager, right?
Well, I'm telling you, I think I'm mager because I've been having. I like to eat. I'm not gonna lie. I like to eat a lot of grapefruit. I don't know. I just like it. But my mom said don't eat too much of it because too much of it make it really skinny. But I think from I started to eat it now, it's like I'm like zero. So I've just had to calm down myself. Just have the fruits, just have it, but not have it too much. You
now,
know what I mean?
Let me ask you: Are you losing muscle? Do you have muscle atrophy, or is it just that you have zero fat? Or you low in fat?
Well, I realized, to be honest with you, I like to do a lot of running, but I realized from the other day, I've been having my grand ear, I've started to feel pain, and it's like I can't really bend. So I don't know if my body if my muscle them is weak. I seem like I'm losing a little bit of muscle, but my body does naturally have muscle anyway. But it seems like I don't know if my skin, if the truth because I'm getting smaller, it's like my body just feel fragile. I don't know.
Right. So you have to. So this is the thing: is that you have to make sure that what you are eating is providing your body with the resources to support skeletal muscle, right?
Okay.
To support, because skeletal muscle is what makes you strong, right?
Okay.
Skeletal muscle is what allows for correct motility, flexibility, you know, and then there's the connective tissue, right? There's ligaments, joints, you know, tendons that need correct nutrition to keep them right. So when we start, if you have any kind of atrophy, it might be in the form of ligaments and joints and tendons, right? Cartilage, where if that starts to erode, you know, you're gonna start getting pains. But then remember, do you live here in the States?
Well, I live in England.
Oh, you live in England. All right. So you live in England. All right. So, and you live in London?
Yeah, London, yes. Yeah,
All
I've
right,
on it
so
before, but you because of the COVID, I was on it before, but the COVID, so everybody just busy and up and down and so on. So, I'm near the Brixton side. I think you know me as well. I always come on it.
right, so there's a lot of pollution.
Yes.
The point I'm getting at, there's a lot of pollution, right?
Yeah.
And there's, you don't get a lot of sun.
Yeah.
Right? And the toxins will take their toll. So you're combating toxins as well as you're trying to maintain muscle mass. You're trying to
make something. I'm not cutting into you. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I see you have something on your website for hernia. So because I'm doing some hernia exercising because I don't want to do any, because I went to the doctor say about I had hernia, but it's a very small one. But doing some stomach exercise, it was in completely, but it come back out. So I'm just trying to train it to stay inside because when it's inside my body, I can digest food, I can intake food, but when it's out, it's like my body can't really intake food. But I don't know if your hernia thing where you have on your website, how that works out. If I'm gonna buy that one as well on my kit with my kit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a hernia, and definitely get it. Now, but you have to. All right. So there's a whole science of keeping your body together, right?
Yeah.
And the point of us putting out, our materials, documentation, and that is to educate everybody, because we don't want to just dictate. We don't want to do the Western medicine thing, which is, all right, take this. You have that, take this, and we're not explaining why, and we're not giving you, the reason why we have our meal plans as well, is that we want you to be eating what's best. So we have a regeneration. The reason why we have like a regeneration meal plan with or life after detox is because we want to ensure that you are maintaining muscle.
Yeah, yes, that's what
you are getting the correct amino acids. You are getting a balanced diet. Along with the supplements. Now, if you do work out a lot, we have a detox for athletes, but we have supplements that will ensure that you get all the correct amino acids, that you get all the correct, that will provide your body with good amino acids that build protein, that will build get to your muscles and that. So and make sure and make sure as well that you are maintaining that you don't fall underweight, because underweight is unhealthy as overweight is unhealthy.
Well, I think I'm underweight right now because no, I used to have body and thick and look more, because I'm naturally used to look thick, but I'm small, but I still look okay. But I'm not gonna lie, I feel good. From a change my diet, I feel really much stronger. I feel real good apart from the hernia, and I see that.
How tall are you and how much do you weigh?
Boy, I tell you, I don't even know, and I never know that before.
All right, so these are the things, right? That your own body stats, right? You need to know your stats so that you know. Yeah. Even though a lot of the BMI and all that is based upon white physiology, right? So we were talking to somebody, Ron, was it? A guy yesterday. He's an obese guy. But he was talking about, these European scales for BMI, it's not right. And I goes, but obese is obese though. You see what I'm saying? Obese is still obese.
Regardless of the scale.
Regardless of what scale it is. If I can look at you and I know you're obese, right? But at least it gives you some form of scale.
Yes, you're right.
That you can even say, all right, so how tall are you? You know how tall you are though, right?
Well, I think I'm looking at you. I think maybe you're a little bit taller than me. I think, I don't know.
How tall is he sitting down?
Sorry.
How tall are you? I'm a little bit taller than you still.
So listen, everyone should know their height and weight at the very least.
Most people are a little bit taller than me. Most people are taller than me. So you've never measured your height.
No, you know what? Every time I go, I forget, because it's so much thing going on in life. Your mind is distracted. I can't concentrate. You know what I mean? So
what do you put when you fill out the form?
I just go on when I go back. I just measure myself and then I just put in the paper. Because
what's on your driver's license? They have that on the driver's license, right?
Probably.
I think I need to look at it. You're right for true, because I don't look at it.
You see, because you could be saying you feel you're mager, but you may not be at all, right? I guess it's
that's the funniest thing. I'm a little bit taller than you.
how you perceive yourself, right? But listen, but height and weight, we should all know that, because listen, it's one of your weight, especially your height, generally doesn't change much. If your height changes in your life, then you've got some condition. Usually, you get shorter, right? If there's a condition.
No, man, I think I'm getting taller. To be quite honest, my mom, I'm over. She said, "Boy, you're getting taller than me."
Well, that might be because you're getting slimmer. But you need to know your weight. You need to know your weight. Your weight is probably the first indication of illness for a lot of different ailments. If your weight fluctuates, and that can point to thyroid issues, it can point to gastrointestinal issues. So for anything else, all of us on the call, at least know your weight, try and find your blood type, very basic things about yourself, so that when
because I'm going to go, sorry to cut in, I'm going to go to the doctor to take a blood test, because I was asking him what my estrogen level is like. So he said I must come back to do a blood test on that. So I'm going to do that one.
Another thing about regular checkups and knowing yourself. Here's the thing. So I'm a guy, right? I don't, you can't see me because my son's playing Tetris on his phone. But I go to the doctor.
I just realized it was on me the whole time.
Right. Once a year, once every 2 years, or I was working for a job and they made me do an annual checkup. If it wasn't for that job and that the health benefit, what do you call it? The elections you have to do every year, I probably wouldn't have gone for the checkup. Right. Interesting thing. So there was a period of 4 or 5 years where I found myself having a regular doctor. Right. Albeit once a year, but then you have a chart. I heard Michelle was talking about going to see her mum's chart. Now they use my chart. I'm sure it's available in probably most hospital regions around the country, and you can literally log on. And what it is, it helps to actually encourage you to look at your weight, your blood type. If they take any sort of blood panels and everything, they give you a list out of where your blood is, where your LDL is, and so on and so forth. Vital statistics. And you start to ask questions like, what does LDH actually mean, or LDL actually mean? And you start to learn yourself. And the reason you need to know this is because if you ever switch a doctor and they do some tests on you, they have no reference point of where you were 6 months ago. So they look at, everything looks normal because you're within this range. But as Dr. Amsu said, there's a finite window for thyroidism, for example. So if your doctor isn't familiar with you and you've moved up 0.5 or 50% or whatever, how are they going to know? They're just going to see that as your current normal, which is why you need to have an understanding of what your numbers typically are, so that when they do change, you can tell your doctor, hey, no, doc, again, if they have your chart, they may see it, but if they don't have a chart, only you are going to know, you see? And so please go and weigh yourself right after this call.
Get on your physician's nerves. What that mean?
Yes.
All right, what that mean?
I will do that.
What that mean?
I'll go to him and ask him about oxygen level, and he's scratching his head already. He said he can't deal with that right now.
A lot of doctors want to get in and out. They don't have time for people.
6 minutes is the average.
But especially if you're paying for it, rinse him.
In London, we get it for free. We don't really pay for it.
Nothing's for free.
No, you pay your taxes. So you pay your tax, so you are paying for it.
True.
It's not just that. You're paying for the lack of care. Now, I will say this, there are a lot of great doctors in England. No one's going to dispute that. But it's the waiting. It's the process of getting into these queues. Chest X-ray. So over here we take it for granted. Like when you get your passport, you got to get a chest X-ray, right? When you're going for your immigration, and you book it. They say, it's Wednesday. Yeah, if you go up there Monday or even Friday, we can get you in. Yeah. In England, they'll tell you September the 17th.
It's true, they give us.
I'm having chest pain. Yeah, you can get an X-ray in September.
It's true. You have to, and what I notice about these doctors, you have to tell them what's wrong with you. They can't just look at it and say, okay, this is the thing that they want to tell them the whole sheet, and they don't know anything. And you have to on them for true. You have to on them to say this part is pain because they want to send you out as they're going. They want to send it right back out straight away. Yeah.
and again, but Camille, you're saying everything and Dr. Amsu's saying, and I'm sure everyone else is thinking on this call, is that the more you know yourself, right, and the more each of us familiarize ourselves with the anatomy, it's something that we probably did in school, and we went there and we did enough to fill in the little color sheet. Where's the leg? Yes. Where's the heart? This is the head, and you get a C or something, and we kept it moving, right? Yes. Too many people are unfamiliar with the anatomy, especially the gastrointestinal The endocrine system we should be aware of, right? The skeletal system we should be aware of. Even naming parts of the body and knowing what bones are in your body. Because a lot of time people go to the doctor and say, well, it hurts here. And they point. And, you know, the doctor, what's he going to do? Well, I mean, sometimes I feel sorry for doctors sometimes. If someone comes to say, yeah, doctor, I'm having some pain over here, right? Then they start asking, well, you know, have you had a fall? You know, no, it's inside. And when you say inside, is it, you know, can you imagine being a doctor, right? And if someone comes to you with that sort of thing. However, if you know your anatomy and you say, well, doc, you know, I feel as though something's happening in my spleen, right? When I eat certain foods, I feel the pain in my, you know, I can't tell my gallbladder, but there's a test you can do to see your gallbladder if it's inflamed. Little things like that. The more we educate ourselves about our own anatomy, the better educated we are when we go and see doctors to give them information and also discern the information they give back to us. So all of us, each of us should be a little.
But here's one of the problems in the black community is that in the black community we believe that as we get older we expect to get sick.
Right.
We expect that something's gonna give way. We expect it, so we just basically concede to the fact, right? Acquiesce to illness, like, all right, I've got kidney problems. Okay, well, what medication should I take to manage that? What can I take? So we end up on medication, and you know, I remember my mum from when I was really young. My mum was on so many different medications, and I'm like, even as a young child, I was like, why?
Frustrating,
Why? Why are you on all of these different pills and all that? And that's what, you know, one of the reasons why I got into medicine was because, all right, I do not want to get sick, and I want the knowledge. I want to have knowledge. I don't want to be ignorant.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people concede to the fact that they're not well, that they have an itis or an osis or something, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we have to get out of that paradigm. We have to change the narrative.
Indeed. So Camille,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yes.
I was going to put a link for something. So for the hernia, you're saying to which protocol? Supplement?
So we have digest.
And Camille, you're familiar with our website, right?
Yes, I'm familiar with the website because I always go on it from time to time and look, to see what when I get my wages, so I can definitely next month insurance, because I don't believe in sickness. Whenever sickness, I just know there's a other way around the thing. I don't believe in tablets. I just believe in the natural healing, like we're producing. That's what I believe in. And
now,
Camille,
I'm going to peep you on some game. You said next week you use the word wages. That's hilarious. They don't use the word wages in America anymore.
In England, we use wages.
Right. But we're going to have a Juneteenth appreciation sale. I hate the word sale, but that's what it is. And so stay tuned, because it's probably going to go live on, it's going to be before the 8th. When is the first 8th? The 13th, right?
Monday.
So before the 13th or on the 13th, we'll launch that out. I can tell you the code now, but it won't work. So hold tight on that. So that code will be going out. So next week will probably be a great time for you to get that.
Okay, that's very good. So I can buy a bigger bottle instead of a small box.
And we have the 4 ounce one. If we do have a 4 ounce in digest, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
We do have a 4 ounce in digest. Yeah. So and it's even cheaper now to get the 4 ounce, because the 4 ounce is cheaper than the it's almost the same price as 2 ounce right now. So you came at the right time, Camille. Well, Camille, listen, thank you for you joining the session.
Thank you
thanks
so
for your
much.
questions, and thanks for being a patron. We hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Camille.
Bye.
So listen, before we get back to Laverne, I know Laverne's over there bench pressing 300 pounds. I want to get to a couple of questions we had earlier on in the chat and in the YouTube. So I'm going to go to YouTube, and I had a quick look at this, Dr. Amsu. Layla was asking, or Lala, can you comment on whether the enzyme serrapeptase is beneficial for shrinking fibroids and ovarian cysts? I guess being that it's, linked to reducing inflammation in the body, serrapeptase.
No, because, well, check this out. So, all right. With your digestive system, your gastrointestinal system, right? For people who have issues with acid reflux and that, this is where they give you all these different
blockers and
peptides,
right?
Serrapeptase and Pepto-Bismol and
Tums.
different, right? But with a lack of digestion, it can be an issue with nutrients that you absorb while you're eating. So when your digestive system is operating correctly, it does help with absorption of nutrients that will be beneficial to you. But it does, serapeptase in itself is not does not balance your hormones. It's not going to deal with the root cause. So, you know, one of the things that may have been found, and whether or not there's a white papers that's out there that says serapeptase shrinks fibroids, I have not come across that. So, and you know, maybe it does loosely.
And again, Dr. Hamza,
I haven't come across that. And the reason why we have our program is because we have identified nutrients that do shrink fibroids.
Right.
So, you know, we've done the research so that you don't necessarily have to. You can do research. We never discourage anybody from doing research, but we've done our research, and you know, thousands of women across, you know, tens of thousands of women around the world have shrunk their fibroids. Thousands have eliminated their fibroids totally on our protocol, which is you know, Great Black Fibroid Detox, or the fibroid elimination program. So, you know,
it's just gonna
there's a lot of information that's out there about, you know, and one of the things is this, is that a lot of herbalists, a lot of naturopaths and that were prescribing red clover. And red clover is highly estrogenic, and a lot of these herbalists and that they weren't getting any success with fibroid elimination because certain herbs that they were using in their ingredients, which are, you know, well known for female reproductive, you know, issues such as dysmenorrhea, right, and amenorrhea, they look at those and think, all right, this is reproductive, let me put this into a formula for fibroids. But it has a totally different specification. It has a totally different effect on the body, right? Because it encourages estrogen. So women who are going through things like menopause, there are substances like red clover that will help. But if you have fibroids, red clover is you know, it will have an adverse effect. It will grow your fibroids. So there's a lot of stuff that you may hear, and you know, one of my pet peeves is when somebody sees, you know, somebody comes and talks to me, and they come talking to me with stuff that somebody who wasn't successful in treating their condition told them is good for them. So, you know, check out the source. Who, you know, whoever spoke about the serapeptase, just even Google it to see if any papers come up on that.
Well, I think Dr. Amsa, I was saying, just, you know, very minimal research I've done is that there is a trend now as well that any plant or substance or fruit or vegetable that has, you know, any hint of being anti-inflammatory means then it works for any kind of inflammation, right? And I think what you're trying to get at as well is that, you know, some things are very localized, some things are very, let's use the word specialized, right?
Right.
And so, yes, something may be anti-inflammatory and works well in one expression within the body, but not necessarily with others. Like we talk about garlic all the time, don't we, Dr. Amsi, and how garlic is great topically and periodically. However, garlic over long term or just sort of general use, again, is highly, phytoestrogenic and causes a number of other problems as well. So I think you're hearing a lot of this. So a lot of herbalists or people out there, they just look for anything that says anti-inflammatory on it. Turmeric, everything's turmeric now, because everyone knows that turmeric has anti-inflammatory properties, but does it work well by itself for everything? Absolutely not, which is why you have the Dr. Amsus and the Dr. Keelers and people who do research to put together these protocols, which is why, the Great Black Detox and the Fiber Illumination and the Great Black Fiber Detox haven't changed ostensibly for 15 years and been very ineffective for 15 years because of the combination of herbs that are in them. And it's not just, just suck on a turmeric lollipop. So listen, we all appreciate that you're doing that research, and it's a great question, and keep coming with questions like that, because it gives us an opportunity as well to see and hear what everyone's saying out there about these various things. So again, that was a question that came in a bit early on. We just had to get to that. Moving on real quick, Celine Thompson was asking, is there a cure for polyps on the gallbladder? Is there a cure for polyps on the gallbladder?
I am actually developing a formula for gallbladder disease. So watch this space. I'm developing the formula, and I'm doing a lot of research into what are the triggers as well as what inhibits. So watch this space on that. But every single disease, that there is naturally occurring diseases, right? Mm-hmm. There's a natural cure.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, watch your space, Celine. Make sure you come back to us on that. But I think you're hearing from his even brief answer there that of course there is, right? You're just going to find out exactly what it is. Carmen's Cuisine, hopefully a chef out here from IG, ask any more info on swollen thyroid nodules, carcinoma. I guess it's a double question there. Well, Dr. Hanson, what can you tell us about swollen thyroid and carcinoma, if there is a relation?
Again, thyroiditis, inflammation of the thyroid gland. Now, tumors and nodules, and whether they are benign or malignant, it comes down to toxins. It comes down to substances that are, nutrients that are missing. It comes down to inflammatory response on, whether it's initiating or inducing tumor necrosis factor is one of the pro-inflammatory cells. You have interleukin 5, interleukin 6. There's so many different forms of pro-inflammatory proteins that can be triggered, that can attack different cells or organs in the body, different glands in the body. So again, it's what are you eating? What are you putting on your skin? What's around you? What's surrounding you in the environment? What endocrine disrupting chemicals are you being exposed to, right? As well as what substances are within your foods, what toxins are in your food. So we have Thyroid RX, which helps the thyroid gland, gives the thyroid gland all the nutrients it needs. And we also have supplements for tumors and growths and for cancers. So we have good tools to eliminate those ailments in the body. So just go to we have a tool on our website called My Condition, and you check the box and it lets you know what supplements are there for you. So we may not have a box specifically for that condition, but if you have a thyroid issue, Thyroid RX will come up. We have hyperthyroid. It depends on whether it's affecting you to slow down your thyroid gland or to speed it up, or speeds it up. We have different thyroid supplements for that. So indeed. I hope I answered the question.
You did indeed. I was just there's some questions going back and forth on the chat about private healthcare in the UK. So for those out there trying to get Bupa, please look into that, because that could be an alternative for a lot of people out there. So Marva was also asking. So Marva, I know you had your hand back up. You put your hand back down again, but I'll ask for you. Can I use the 14-day detox kit as a intermittent fast? Eat every other day. When we were just talking about this yesterday, Dr. Amsi, about how we use the detoxes, So Marva, absolutely. Here's the thing. Our supplements come in these kits, right? And if you have a particular ailment, we have developed these kits and these protocols, we call them, to target, along with your diet and exercise, these particular ailments that you do have, right? But our supplements are daily, natural herbs and nutrients that your body needs, especially the detoxes like the 14, the 13, the 7, which is why we recommend that once you finish your detox, keep taking the supplements, because the supplements are what we should have. All of these really should be maintenance, right? Again, the protocols are put in particular formats because we want to tackle a particular inflammation in the body. However, again, so, things like digest and virility and essence and stability, these should be daily maintenance supplements. So if you're taking supplements, and if you know the 14, we've got Coach Aggie on the call. Coach Aggie is getting close to 40 days without food, and she has so much energy. It's annoying, right? And who would have thought, a lot of people can't get through 14 days, but 40. And there are several doctors out there who are coming out now saying, the paradigm before was no, fasting for more than a few days is dangerous. But doctors are coming out and saying, no, in fact, we should fast for tens of days as a mechanism to relieving inflammatory disease, as with the right supplementation and healing the body whilst we're going through that. So again, it's another paradigm shift. All of that to say, absolutely, Dr. Hampson and I, we try and get the boys here on it, but we intermittent fast every day. We had our one meal just before the call. We probably won't eat again until tomorrow, 3-4 o'clock. And sometimes we go through the whole day not eating, not really feeling hungry. We don't really snack. There may be the occasional, raw pumpkin seed or pistachio or something in the office, but we tend to drink water and juice during the day, and again eat maybe once a day, every single day. And it's funny, I carry that on during the weekend. So during the weekend I may get up and not come to the office straight away, but I won't eat until 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and I feel great. I'm not digesting anything. I'm not having to worry about swallowing or tasting my mouth or anything like that. It's really rewarding. So absolutely, Marva, use the supplements and intermittent fast every day. But if you want, you can do intermittent fast. Let's say Monday, eat in a small window, and then Tuesday, not eat at all. But of course, taking the supplements and drinking water, coconut water, structured water all the time. But absolutely, you can skip food periodically, alternate days for the rest of your life. It's not going to hurt you. You'll probably do great. So thanks for that question. So I've got Laverne and Camille both have their hands up. Laverne, are you back with us? Are you still bench pressing? We'll be doing squats now. Are you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay, Laverne.
I'm not working my legs. I'm working my back.
It's not leg day, it's back day. Okay.
No. Yeah,
you can't tell, but I did arms yesterday. You can tell. You have to move your camera a little bit. The lighting in here is a bit bad. But anyway, carry on, Laverne.
Okay. So my question is that my niece...
Body.
Are you taking my question or are you taking someone else?
We're taking yours, but Tracy needs to be on mute. Is that Francine's phone? Who is that? Tanika's phone. Go ahead, Laverne. It's all you.
Oh, okay. So my niece I just learned today that she had COVID. Like they're now getting it over. But she was saying that she's having like chest pain. So I'm asking why, and what can she do?
All right. So she hasn't had the vaccine, has she?
I don't know, to be honest.
All right. That's an important question there. But there,
I think they might have, to be honest with you.
Okay. Because COVID there are, it has been reported that long COVID can, or even short-term COVID can cause pericarditis or myocarditis, viral pericarditis or viral myocarditis, right? That's one of the things. So that is a possibility. But if she's had the vaccination as well, that could be a factor. And how old is she as well? Because it does affect the young more than the old when they have the vaccine.
She's like 30, probably 31.
Okay, all right. So we have Heart RX, which is for, but she needs to find out. So here's the thing, right? Before we start saying, right, take this. She needs to find out what's going on. If she's having heart pain, she needs to go and find out what that is.
Chest pain.
Or chest pain, yeah, chest pain. She needs to go and find out what the chest pain is. And that's the thing, that's what you were talking about when we hear, right, I've got a pain in my chest.
Right.
It's like all kinds of stuff will start going on.
Rub some cod liver oil on it, You need to know, because chest pain can be indicative, obviously, of, very severe vital organ damage, right? Heart, lungs, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, please have a, get an
Because it
X-ray.
could be indigestion.
It could well be heartburn. It could be, because these things, the symptoms are very similar. However, you need to know, because you don't want to treat one. Ironically, the treatment for some of these heartburn conditions actually weaken your heart. So you need to know what it is you're doing, most definitely. So please, Laverne, have a go and
chest pain.
Go to the
certain things that go on, you need to know, because you never. One of the biggest mistake within the Black community is to ignore that sort of thing. Like I'm getting tight, this tightening feeling in my chest and all that, and just left alone.
But this is as a result of the COVID, because she never had that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
No
Even
matter,
more so, right.
Even if she went for a jog, and like for the last couple of days she's feeling it tightening in her chest, still go and have it checked out. And find out what it is. Once we know what it is, then we'll be in a best position to say, right, here's this protocol that we can, this nutrient therapy that you can be on to remedy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay,
that
Laverne.
was my question.
Thank you.
That was my question. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your workout.
All right.
Guys,
All right,
we have
Yes, I will.
9 minutes. So go ahead, Laverne.
No, I said I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Laverne. All right, guys, we have 8 minutes and 40 seconds now to get your questions in. We will be finishing at 7 o'clock. We have cake. We have vegan cake in the office, and we can't let it get cold. So, Camille, I see you had your hand re-raised. Did you have another question, or was your hand still raised from before?
Yes, please. I'm also wondering if true, because I like coconut. I don't ever like if I can have coconuts, like I have my smoothie in the morning, so I don't ever I can have coconut.
Oh yes.
You mean coconut? You mean the meat? You mean eat coconut?
Yeah. Like like when you juice it out in the blender, you get I can put it in my I can have it with my bananas and stuff like that, and make my shake.
What kind of bananas are you having, Camille?
Well, I have ripe bananas. I don't know. Yes.
Are they yellow?
Ripe banana. Yes, yellow
it's
banana.
Cavendish.
Yes. But
when you cut it open, do you see the black seed?
Yes, it's the little baby one, the tumper one, but it's very.
Oh, okay.
It's
yeah.
fat.
All right. Yes. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I can have the
coconut is a superfood.
Okay, I never know. Okay. Because I always, people always saying base stuff, so you have to just get the right information. So you just listen and still get the right one, so you can follow along with the right information. So you just don't have coconut because it's not good for fiber. One bag of something.
Yeah,
so
your question about if you can use the 14 to
that was Marva.
Oh, that was Marva. Okay, all right, my bad.
But answer the question, because I want to see what you're going to say.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Marva don't have fibroids, so
okay.
So that's a whole other thing. So yeah, so Camille, yes. I hope we answered your question there. Coconut is good.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you for
And
that.
This is the thing, when you get the kit, when you get the detox, it comes with documentation. So when you read through the documentation, you're going to be well educated on what to eat and the type of lifestyle that you need to be living.
Well,
All
next
right.
week I'll be indefinitely because this one not gonna pass me now because I'm really wanna get this just get this thing naturally. I've never done the one of the say they go to the doctor and I don't like that thing. I like natural eating, like the medicine you're giving. I like those natural stuff eating. I don't want nobody to put no inside my body to take out anything. I just want to just go naturally, come naturally so I can go naturally. That's what I believe in. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah. One more question before you go. This is the last question. I eat red rice. I don't know if that's okay. So
Red rice.
Never heard
yes,
of it.
red rice.
What's red rice?
What's red rice?
No, not red rice. Black rice. Black rice.
Okay.
I eat,
All right.
Okay.
Is it
yes,
is it wild rice or is it black? What does it look like? Describe
it's
what the
black.
rice look like.
It is black organic rice.
All right.
But,
What it look like? Does it does it look fat or is it long thin?
It's long thin.
All right. That sounds like wild rice. So if it's black wild rice, then that's great.
Okay, then okay.
If it's the
okay.
forbidden rice, which is the short, stumpy one, then that's not good. That's starch.
Okay. Well, this one is a fine. It look like basmati, but it's long. It's long.
Yeah,
One. It's a very
yeah,
long.
that's wild
Yes,
rice.
yes.
Yeah, that's black wild rice. Yeah, that's good.
You soak it.
Okay. So I know. So I know after mix it, I have my shake when that's my dinner. So I just have the black rice with my what you call it, my coconut and stuff for my dinner and sauce. I know I get a bit more understanding. Thank you so much.
All right, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Camille.
Yes. Thank you.
Michelle.
Yes, I don't know if I missed it because I was doing a lot of moving around. Did Dr. Amsu talk about exercising with the mask on?
No, we didn't get back because Laverne was smart. When she came back, she didn't have the mask on.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, see, she
I noticed she was talking. We could hear her clearly, so she probably
break it down.
All right. Respiration is very important. Correct respiration is key. Aerobic exercising is key. And working out with a mask on, you can suffer hypoxia because you're not getting the best of oxygen, and it's also not good for the microbiome of your mouth. Your mouth flora is not good as well, so there's a lot of disadvantages to doing that, especially if you're breathing heavily as well. When your heart rate is up, you want to make sure that your body is getting oxygen. So if you're taking a stroll or you're sitting still in a building for an hour or so, all right, cool. But when you're working out and your heart rate is up, it's very important that you're getting oxygen. Enough oxygen. So the mask is not good.
Okay. Oh, she's gone. Thank you, Michelle.
And a lot of people I have a membership at LA Fitness, and there's still a lot of people who come in there wearing their masks. And I can understand the older people who come in because they're at higher risk. But oxygen is life.
Yeah. I know there was a craze still going on. People wear these masks to work out because someone put out that, the carbon dioxide helps build muscle. I don't know. There's so many things out there. But again, I always say, anything that inhibits your natural function has to be questioned, Thank you for raising your hands, guys. We're going to try and speed through these last few questions before we kick us out of here at 7 o'clock. We had Camille. Jada. Is that Jade? Jade's iPhone. Jade, are you there? Please unmute your camera and your mic, Jade.
I'm here.
So, good afternoon.
Hi, Jade.
Hi, Jade.
Wait, are you Floyd's wife, Jade?
Yes.
What happened to the mansion? What happened to the villa?
It's not here.
He's not here, okay.
Inside the house now.
They sold it.
He sold the villa to go and buy that stuff, right?
outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, my quick question. Is the coconut oil, right, and the coconut milk, cooking with it I guess you my condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want me. Should I refresh it?
You need to hurry up.
No, about the coconut. You're asking about coconut oil?
Coconut oil? Is that one of you got a condition called coconut oil?
No, what I'm saying is the kidney were under investigation.
Yes.
Right.
With being right. So saturated fat, I get to understand that saturated fat is something that I should keep away from.
Right. So you're asking about cooking with coconut oil, right?
The coconut oil and the milk is high in saturated fat. Am I right?
All right. So an excess, right? An excess. Remember, you have coconut is a superfood, so it balances itself, right? So when Dr. Keela was talking earlier and she was saying, all right, here's how you do best with coconut milk and that, she was saying add these different coconut ingredients, right? Coconut is a superfood, meaning it balances itself and gives you nutrition. There are oils that provide like omega-3, right? Omega-3 oils. There are certain lipids that are actually good for you, great for you. When you're in excess of certain things, right, that's when there can be problems. But you have organisms that self-balance as whole foods, and that's what we try to encourage people to partake in, are whole foods, rather than you have some isolated form, an extract of something, right? But coconut is a superfood. So when and again, one of the problems that we have with how Western medicine speaks about certain things, they'll isolate a substance and say, this is bad for you if you have such and such, but it's overall good for you because it has a self-balancing mechanism, a natural self-balancing mechanism. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to, if you have something like coconut milk, you're not going to chug down gallons of it. You might have some on your cereal or whatever. So it ain't like you're doing a massive amount. And this is one of the things when we talk about portions of food. You don't need to yam a whole bunch of food. You don't need a mountain. You see what I'm saying? So the amount of oil that is in coconut milk is not going to cause detriment in your body.
All right. Okay. Good. Because the way all these people is put these things out there, you gotta keep away from this, keep away from that. It's like
and then you can then if but this is the thing. There's the psychosomatic effect of getting information like that. Now you start to fret on stuff, right? If you're like, well, I'm not sure about the coconut milk, get hemp milk.
Uh-huh. Why do you need the milk? What is it you need the milk for? Because milk isn't like
I do the black lentil. Well, guy needs to cook up.
Oh, you cooking for your cooking. You're talking about the okay.
Cook up, yes, that's what we cooking.
Right. Okay, you're making your rice and peas and them something there. Okay, understood.
Yeah, rice and peas.
Yeah, that's Dr. Amsi saying. If it's organic and a single ingredient, you're okay. If it's processed with chemicals in it, just read the packaging. But I think what Dr. Keely was saying earlier on, you can make your own to cook with. Get real coconut and make your own.
Right. So the coconut milk that comes from the can, like I buy from Whole Foods anyway all the time. But like you said, it doesn't matter where you buy from. It don't mean that they ain't putting nothing in it. But you would say definitely keep away from the canned stuff.
Absolutely. Anything canned.
Buy the coconut and grate it yourself and get your milk.
Why not? Your food will taste better.
Yes, it does.
There you go.
What about the cholesterol? Hi.
What about cholesterol? What do you want to know?
So, wait, what you gotta use when they say you got a high LDL is high, your cholesterol levels.
All right, you know what I'm gonna do, because we're short on time.
I'm trying to get
Dr. Keela was going to say something about what you just asked, and Keela, talk about LDL as well.
So, good evening. LDL is like your low density lipoprotein. So it's a protein that is that carries fat. The problem with low density lipoprotein is that it's more fat than it is protein. Anytime your low density lipoproteins are elevated, that means your consumption of um, saturated fat, whether it's mono unsaturated, meaning it has a few, it has all the hydrogens on the carbons, or if it's polyunsaturated, I'm sorry, um, let me say this differently. Monounsaturated, you may just have one hydrogen missing off the carbon. Polyunsaturated, um, you have a lot of hydrogens missing off the carbon. The reason that's important is because it determines how the fat is sorted and stored in the body. So when you have a lot of saturated fat, so the easiest way I can put this is animal fat is usually saturated with a lot of hydrogen. Plant fats can have some hydrogens on them, are very few. Things that are solid at room temperature, fats that are solid at room temperature, they tend to have a lot of hydrogen on them. Sorry, oil, fats that are solid on room temperature, like animal fat, have a lot of hydrogen. Those are going to have a tendency to clog up small vessels, namely blood vessels, namely capillaries and little arterioles that are responsible for delivering oxygen and minerals and nutrients to your heart, your other organs. The reason that's important is because of all the organs in your body. Your heart burns high octane, meaning it burns fats. If you load your body up with a lot of animal fat, then that's the only fuel the heart has to burn. Eventually, you're going to end up with clogged arteries, and a clogged artery in the heart leads to a heart attack. In the brain, it leads to a stroke. In the gut, it leads to a type of stroke called mesenteric ischemia. Worst belly pain of your life. It will never show up on an X-ray. They have to do contrast CT and MRI. And I don't know if you know that in the U.S., they're claiming they don't have enough contrast dye to even do those procedures. So they're pushing people off when they need CT scans and such. Um, so the key here is if you consume more plant fats, you're on the safer side because they tend to be less saturated with hydrogen, which means they'll be less likely to clog up your arteries and your capillaries. Now with coconut is a balance of saturated and unsaturated. I'm convinced that a lot of things they tell us in Western medicine, not all, but many, is to dissuade us from eating the healthier stuff so they actually have people to treat.
It sounds cynical,
Well,
but it's very true, Dr. Kina.
right. Exactly. And if you actually ate the healthier stuff, you'd visit them a lot less.
We can't have any
Okay.
of that.
So what you want to do is lower your low density lipoproteins by staying away from animal fat, whether it's in dairy, whether that dairy is animal based milk, cheese, eggs, you name it, away from animal flesh, and stick with plant fats, plant products, because the fiber in the plant, like, so when this is the thing, coconut oil is great, but it's better just to eat the coconut meat
Right.
because you get the fiber, the minerals, and the fiber in there will bind up a lot of the fat, so only a little bit will be absorbed in your system. You only get enough what you need, and then the rest will pass out in your bowel movements. So eat plants in their most natural state possible, and you will be okay. And exercise makes muscle more sensitive to a lot of hormones, physical exercise. So it makes muscle more sensitive to thyroid hormone even. So the way your muscles utilize fuel will be different and more efficient. I hope that helps. I like Dr. Amsua and Mr. Larty, Mr. Briggs were saying, the fact that the community lacks knowledge, it requires physicians to actually do a bit more background to bring you back to your question so you understand exactly what you're asking. It's not LDL, HDL alone. You have to understand the chemistry because when you go grocery shopping, you're shopping for chemistry. Whether you think you're shopping for taste, but your body says your body only understands chemistry. Your brain understands taste by way of your tongue and your palate, but your body understands the chemistry. And based on the chemistry you feed it, that's the chemistry and the performance you're going to get out.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Keela. Excellent breakdown there. So, Floyd, you heard it from Dr. Amsu and from Dr. Keela. Louder meat thing. And I know you stop eating a lot of meat, right? But the milk-based products, the milk and so on and so forth, these are all contributing to your LDL. I hope that answers your questions. I got to get to two very quick ones.
That's good.
But go ahead, Floyd.
Catch you next week.
Floyd, appreciate you. And
thanks, Floyd.
And you too, Jade. Thank you. Okay, now Camille, you had your hand up. Is that because you still had it up, or did you have something quick?
There was another person.
No, I got another. Yeah, I'm just gonna because Camille.
Oh, sorry. I should have put my hands down. Sorry.
It's okay. No problem.
No worries.
No problem.
Sorry.
Dr. Ansu and Mr. Briggs,
yes,
I just wanted to address one thing, short form, 10 seconds. When you, with the mask and exercising or just going about your day, a lot of people don't recognize that you need oxygen to fight infection. Our bodies produce peroxide to fight infection, to make microbes permeable to so that when our immune system dispatches chemicals to kill the microbe, they can penetrate the membranes and get in and destroy. Essentially, our bodies make hydrogen peroxide from the oxygen we breathe, right?
Right.
And making hydrogen peroxide is a byproduct of metabolism. Well, if you're not breathing in the right quantity, the right concentration of oxygen makes up chemically 21% of the air we breathe. There are other gaseous elements, and then the rest is nitrogen. But that 21% is vital for life. We get that from trees, algae, and such plants. If you don't get enough oxygen, you cannot fight infection. Your body is ill-equipped. The reason your mucus is that greenish color is because of an enzyme called myeloperoxidase, which helps make, it's not the only enzyme, but it's one of the enzymes that helps make hydrogen peroxide to kill microbes. So I understand the whole thing about wearing masks and such, but you actually debilitate your immune system doing that too.
Right.
And that's the piece they never told people.
Right. So there you have it. So Laverne, stop working out with the mask on, and anybody else who is.
I'm gonna do like that.
Okay, Dr. Amsu.
Not go for jogs. People, I seen people jogging
with the mask on.
With their mask on.
Driving by themselves with their mask on. Your car is already limited oxygen. Then you got the AC, and then you got the mask on as well. Not everyone's using AC, so thank you for all of that. Very quick. Someone asked, how long does it take to get the orders when you order them? Depends where you live. It can be next day, it can be a couple of days, it can be a week. For we're sending abroad, we typically ship the same day the order comes in, and they go out the same day. Then it's down to the postal service.
If
UPS,
you order over the weekend, it's not going to go out until Monday.
Typically, unless I decide to come in at the weekend. But even then, the postal company will only pick it up on those days anyway, right? So typically, just a day or two. If it's going abroad, then it's down to the shipping handlers. You may find some challenges with some countries, but it's typically because of customs and things like that. But as far as we're concerned, when the order comes in, it tends to go out same day. Okay, Tanique, hold on.
Tina C's, I think.
Is it Tina C's? Oh, you've spoken to Tina before?
No.
It can't be Tanique, can it?
That would be Tinac or Tinac.
Tinac. All right, TINAC, apostrophe S. Please unmute your camera and your phone and let us know what's going on. You got 30 seconds. No pressure.
Okay, so I'm having problems.
Go ahead.
We can hear you kind of.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Okay. All right, I'll have to work on the camera. I just had one quick question. Thank you guys so much for what you're doing. We're setting up our legacy to hopefully be more healthy. My question was, what cleaning products or what things can you recommend to help our homes with the air pollution, like viruses and EMFs and stuff like that that hinder our body from healing when we are sleeping?
Absolutely, great question. And
Coach Aggie.
Coach Aggie, yes.
And see, Coach Aggie, if we ended at 7 on the dot like you wanted, we wouldn't have had this question. So come on in.
And
Hey,
everybody, Coach Aggie sent us a text. Can we please finish at 7 o'clock today?
Okay,
we finish when we finish, Coach Aggie.
I can take 7:15 so that there's daylight for the rest of the evening. So yes, I'm happy to answer your question. So yeah, detoxifying your home is just as important as detoxifying your body. So through our elimination programs, you're doing that, but you're not really removing the source of the problem. Obviously, dietary reform and not, cooking with certain chemicals. But the air that we're breathing, chemicals get into our body through what we inhale as well, and what we put on our skin. And so I would love to take your contact information, because I have a talk that I do every Wednesday at 5 on indoor air pollution and the effect that these endocrine disrupting chemicals, carcinogens, immunosuppressant chemicals, and neurotoxins have on your body. And are contributing to not just female reproductive issues, but a myriad conditions. And so if you wouldn't mind dropping your contact information in the chat, I'll capture that and contact you directly. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you're going to start by doing things like eliminating bleach, Lysol, your laundry detergent. Honestly, it's from top to bottom. People are brushing their teeth with pesticides because the very crude and, dare I say, barbaric logic is pesticides kill germs and you have germs in your mouth. So why don't we use pesticides as toothpaste? Isn't that outrageous and completely irresponsible and reckless, right? And so let's eliminate and stop subscribing to, oh, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been raised on Crest and Colgate. My grandmother used Tide. No, stop it immediately. We have alternatives, all right? And so anybody else that's interested, please leave your information in the chat for us to capture, and you're welcome to join me on Wednesdays at 5.
Thank you, Coach Aggie. Great. So, Tanique, thank you for the question. Quickly, before we get to Laverne, I think Laverne had her hand raised again. Anthea has been waiting quite some time. She's been contributing and chatting with us on the IG. She posed the question. So we had a discussion earlier on this call. She's got a couple of people that are wanting to do the detox, right? But they're a little bit concerned, right? About losing too much weight when on the detox. And I know Dr. Anthony, we talked this about several times, is people have this fear, well, if I detox or I lose all these toxins, I'm going to lose my booty, right? I'll lose my boobs or whatever. And they're worrying about losing too much weight. Can we talk very quickly about that, the myth around that, and also what that weight is that they're losing and why it's important to do the detox?
Okay, so we spoke earlier on about muscular atrophy, right? And that is where we don't want anybody to be, right? But we all carry pounds, sometimes tens of pounds of toxins in our body at any one time. Even the amount of feces that we have, right, in our bodies can be anywhere up to like 20, 25, 30 pounds of waste in our body at any one time, right? So, and these are the things that we try to get you to lose with the detoxification process. So, fat, unwanted or useless fat that's in the body, that is one of the targets, as well as the waste and the toxins that are in your body, that when you start losing weight, that's the weight that we're targeting, right? And even if there's weight that's lost through muscular atrophy, your body, through the nutrients, and this is what's key, is that the nutrients that you're being provided are feeding your body with nutrients that it needs to maintain muscle mass, that it needs to maintain hormonal balance, to maintain homeostasis. So your body gets closer to homeostasis as you detoxify, right? And when you reintroduce the correct foods as through our guidance, through our meal plans and that, your body will fill out as it's supposed to. So we get this question a lot with people who are naturally skinny or slim. You know, I'm afraid of losing my booty, or I'm afraid of losing, you know, I'm already mager. I don't want to get mager more than the mager. So the whole thing is, you need to lose the toxins. You need to lose the toxins, and we all need to regularly, you know, engage in fasting or some form of cleansing or detoxification process in order to keep those excess toxins to a minimum, right? To get them out. So don't worry about if you lose a bit of weight that you're afraid of, because once you start eating correct foods again, your body's going to properly utilize and balance itself out. So
can I add a couple of very quick things here as well? So 2 things here. So comfortable or proper weight, right? So we tend to consider our weight based on how we feel we look, right? Especially women, especially in this modern culture. We want certain shape, we want certain curves. Men want to have a chest and certain things, and we forego proper health in exchange for that aesthetic look, right? The fact of the matter is, some of those aesthetic things aren't really natural to us, and they aren't really conducive to us. So you may have a big round booty or hips, but you maybe shouldn't have, because maybe it's white adipose tissue and fat, okay? So the key thing is to get rid of the toxic fat, the white adipose fat. However, you can be vegan and get vegan gains. There are overweight vegans out there. There are overweight vegetarians out there. There are people who eat clean. They just eat a hell of a lot of it, you know? So you can put on weight and maintain your shape and tone up and all the rest of it whilst on a non-meat, non-dairy diet. Absolutely. What it is just changing the way you do things. So Anthea, tell your friends that, where they do the detox, so that for that period they're going to lose the toxic fat, but they can absolutely get their gains back.
What I will say though is that proper curves, circular curvage on women, right, it is indicative of muscle and brown adipose tissue, right? Fat does not maintain any kind of shape, right? White fat does not maintain any kind of shape. So the white fat is more saggy, right? If you want size that you look good in jeans, but it's all cellulite and business, that's not what you want. So muscle gives you shape, gives you size, and gives you shape, right? Brown adipose tissue gives you shape and is also, high in mitochondria, right? For thermogenesis, brown adipose tissue is great, right? But if you are curvy, you won't lose that. You won't lose that. And if you do lose a little bit, your body will replace that, right? Now, here's the thing. If you are carrying any fat, your body uses fat as energy storage, right? So your body's not going to start pulling from your muscle for energy, where it has, the purpose of fat is stored energy. So your body's not going to say, well, I'm going to bypass fat and go to muscle for the energy. It's not going to do that, right? Your body is always going to go to fat storage for energy before it starts going to skeletal muscle. All right? And again, the nutrients from the supplements, they're going to provide your body with all the resources it needs to maintain muscle.
Absolutely. So Anthea, thanks for the question. Make sure you and your friends download the Great Black Detox app, and you'll see all the testimonies, and you get a lot of information about people who are doing the detox, who have done the detox, and you'll see there are people who are doing it several times, and they've loved what it's done for their lives. And I'm thinking maybe, Anthony, you may have done it already, which is why you're asking for your friends. So I appreciate the question. Laverne, you're going to be the last one out. You're going to close us out. We're going to go big. We're going to go long for the touchdown.
Okay, so question. Okay. What is the best protein, okay, because we're vegans, okay, so what is the best protein that you recommend for us to use? Okay, because now I'm home, just got home. I'm going to go eat me some red black quinoa and okra. That's what I have cooked, okay? And I'm going to go back to the gym again with my husband around 9 o'clock and do cardio. Now, so I'm asking one question, what's the best form of protein? Number two, I am doing the cardio at night. Is it good or not? And the next question I have is that I have this mucus and something like in my family that we have this, like, it's from the head, and it's like, this mucus that will come down, it comes down and you get stuffy, like, and when I say my family, not my children, I'm talking about me and my brothers, we experience it, like this mucus that we deal with. In the morning, you wake up, you're pulling this stuff down, and you got to get rid of it. But it's not. But I don't know, what can we do to get rid of that?
All right, so you're
Did you hear me?
Yeah, yes. You broke up for a little bit there. That's Laverne, that's a loaded question that you just asked there for the last question. All right. Okay. So first of all, all right. I'm not gonna tell you what protein, right? Because I'm not. Now you're talking about a protein rather than, all right, what food is best, right?
Okay. What food is
all right.
best? Okay.
So I will say this, right? You got hemp, you've got raw pumpkin seeds. There's what that thing there called? The
lentils.
Jackfruit.
Yeah.
Jackfruit. Mangosteen.
Okay.
Mangosteen. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we have in the meal plans,
Avocado.
right? Avocados are good for maintaining muscle, and it's high in omega-3s and all that. But there is no one thing that I would say eat this one thing, right? Because it's a combination of food. Now on the mucus thing, in the mornings when you get up and you're mucusy, that is indicative that your body is getting rid of toxins, right?
Okay.
And better out than in. So if you're producing it, right? Remember, there's still, your body's always getting rid of toxins, right? But it's good if you're mucusy in the morning and you spit it out or whatever, or you blow it out your nose or whatever, and your body, that means that cellular respiration is taking place, and your body is getting rid of these toxins and microbes and whatever. So when you urinate in the morning, you defecate in the morning, and you're also clearing out your sinuses and all that. These are all good that is happening at that time. If you're mucusy throughout the day, that's indicative of some form of ailment or of pollution or of toxins that you are subjecting yourself to all the time, household products or whatever, right? Or there's an allergy, an intolerance, high sensitivity to or whatever. But when it's in the morning, that's not a bad thing. Right?
Okay,
so that means your body's working.
So all the foods that you list, we do use. I do use that in my I use it. And the bananas, I put those in my pancakes. They do have seeds. The red ones, I really can't get them. So I get the yellow ones. I put those in my pancakes, or I use plantains. And I use the hemp powder, protein powder, and all that stuff in my pancakes. And that, two of those and some
Now I will say to you this: get hemp seeds. Don't get hemp protein.
Workouts.
Can you hear me, Laverne?
I think it's breaking up.
Oh, you're breaking up. So you couldn't hear me, right, Laverne? Can you hear me now?
And doing writing. Thank you.
She said thank you. So
all right. So Laverne, here's what I was gonna say. Hemp seeds, not hemp protein.
The powder, the powder is just the seed. Okay.
No, I don't know. When they say hemp protein, right?
It's the powder.
Right, it's a powder. Get the hemp seeds, because again, the hemp seeds are the hemp seeds, and that's where they get hemp protein from. But the seed has all the properties to balance.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I want everybody to hear this program. We used to suffer bad with allergies, and from changing our diet and all of that, and eating the way and using your subs, we haven't had any issue like that with allergies this year. So just want to say that to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome.
All right. Good night.
Good night, Laverne.
Thank you, Laverne.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you everyone for joining the call. Everyone's on the IG, on the YouTube, of course, on the Zoom. Maybe spread the word. I'm trying to do a better job of sending the emails out to remind you guys. And thanks for those of you that do register. When we register, we can get you guys and we can email you, so you get all the benefits of being part of our family. Thanks to all Dr. Keela, Coach Aggie, and everyone else that helped sharing their testimony and their stories as well. Coach Aggie, you've got your hand raised after you said you want to shut it down at 7 o'clock. What did you want to say?
I know. I didn't have time, but I wanted to capture Rochelle Elliott's contact information. So Rochelle, can you just drop your email address in the chat for us, please?
Rochelle, wave if you heard that.
Before you close.
All right, Rochelle heard that. Okay, we're going to grab that. Thank you, Rochelle. Put that in the...
Mr. Larty
yes,
and Dr. Amsu, I just want to mention one thing. When you were speaking about the powder, not the extract, remember this: in nature, most things are not isolated. Trees
right,
are
exactly.
Blades of grass are together. Flowers go together. Even if they're not the same flower, things occur in a community. A seed is a community. It's a community of memory. And the minute something gets destroyed, just look at in nature. It's been isolated first. So anything in isolation, most of the time, will either be destroyed or it will destroy you.
Thank you.
Right, exactly.
If you remember that, you will never forget it.
All right, quick fire, Ruth B. And I know you're playing.
See, she's been muted. She's just trying
She's
to
probably laughing.
Why are you trying to mash up our recording? Who's KJ? That's KJ's.
All right.
Hey, my man, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm glad to be a part of this. Hey, listen, real quick. I won't be long. So I'm on day 3 of the 14-day detox.
Congratulations. Good.
And thank you. Just a simple question. Exercise. Should I? So I have a personal trainer, and I train with him twice a week. Should I still be training?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was trying to get out of it, but I told him I would check with y'all first. So I'm all in. I actually did it last. I did it last May, and I coach football, and I get a little lazy during football season and get off my path. So I'm trying to get back on. So I'm excited.
All right, excellent.
Right.
And it's good that you're doing it now. So we're probably going to do a summer solstice 14 challenge. So tell all your people, summer solstice. We're going to start a detox, but now's the time when summer's coming in. For all you want your beach bodies and that, you want to be, backing off the shirts and whatnot.
Yes.
Now's the best time of the year to do it, when the sun is at its highest point in the sky.
Why'd you look at me when you said back off a shirt?
I tried not to look at you backing off shirt.
I saw you looking at the...
I tried not to look at you.
It's a habit. Well, listen, folks, thank you very much for joining the call. Everyone on the IG, everyone on the YouTube. We're here every week, Thursdays. This is the place to be. People around you, your loved ones, your kids, your parents. Look, they have health issues. They're a little bit afraid to talk about it. They can come on, they can just listen, but they can get their questions answered. Each and every one of us needs to be on a health journey. We know for a fact that not everyone's going to buy our products or follow our paradigm, but at least come and hear the information. We know this is a numbers game, right? We're cool with that. We're not just about selling products. We have a non-profit, and I always say we're going to talk about it. We never end up talking about it. We're doing this for us. We're doing this for you guys. You guys just got to do your bit. Get healthy, get wise, get smart. We're still learning. We're learning every day. Guys, listen.
Ruth B. Say what you want to say.
No, sorry, I had the speaker on, and so so you couldn't hear me. I just want to say it's a really good clinic tonight, and I haven't been on for a little while.
Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah, just keep it up. Some of the stuff I heard tonight was amazing, and I mean I have my health issues. I'm working such long hours. I'm still working now. That I'm working such long hours that I'm sure I'm not getting enough sun.
Right.
The little sun that there is in the UK. So yeah, just really good clinic, and it's listening while I'm working has helped.
Ruth, didn't we talk to you about getting a UVB light? I could have sworn you said you looked one up or something like that. Wasn't it, Ruth? A UVB lamp.
No, that was I think that was, and that was Nadira.
Nadira,
and I haven't forgotten you, Nadira. I see that you've been there silently tonight saying you didn't send me that list. I'm gonna send you the list.
Okay.
And you guys, just want to say you guys are a lot better than last week's crowd.
Absolutely. That was terrible last week.
Terrible.
Hopefully they don't come back. Well, listen, guys, sending love to you as we do each and every week. Happy detoxing, happy healing. Make sure those of you that shared your information get with Coach Aggie next week. We can detoxify our homes and start to remove some of these toxins that are around us and stay healthy, stay wise.
Detox there.
Dictation. No. Filthy, one-track minded. And, HR's on. We'll be talking to you later on as well. Listen, folks, we're out of here, man. Peace out.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Pleasant evening.
Good night.